Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to acknowledge 4 of our colleagues today: Representative Greg Harris, former Representative and Alderman Mell, Kelly Cassidy, and Sam Yingling. To stand before your colleagues and ask for a measure of equality that the overwhelming majority of us already enjoy takes a great deal of strength. Your courage to stand tall on such a personal issue in such a public way is inspiring, and I want to say thank you. Today I pray that you and other loving families who for years have heard harsh words, felt discrimination, and been disrespected will indeed today get the equality that this House is in a position to deliver. Throughout our history, each and every generation has expanded upon the freedoms won by our forefathers. We are at our best when we work to remove barriers and expand the possibilities for more of our citizens to achieve the American dream. The next great barrier that we're standing in front of today in our generation is the prohibition on marriage for same-sex couples. When things are unequal, we feel it. Inequality is life out of balance. Inequality is an offense to the very foundation of our country. Equality is something we must stand up for, and today we must stand on the right side of history and make Illinois more equal for all of our citizens. We can no longer say to one couple that their love is deserving of marriage and to another couple that their love should only be called a partnership. Separate but equal is never equal. Children of same-sex couples should not grow up wondering why their family is treated differently from other families. Over the years, people have said to those of us who have always supported marriage equality that we're brave. Brave? Brave for being openly supportive of gay marriage and gay adoption. With all due respect, I humbly dissent. We aren't being brave. We are being smart because we know that love is a human experience, not a political statement. I have several friends whose marriages have clearly outlasted mine. They are raising wonderful children together. Many have been together for over 3 decades. Recently, one of those couples, Lee and David Newbecker, were down here in Springfield with their daughter, Braden. I'm sure many of you remember Braden. She took a day off of school and came down here with her dads to stand in solidarity. And she went from office to office, handing a letter that she wrote to many of you, and I'd like to share parts of her letter. It was entitled, "Why My Dads Should Be Married." It began, "Love is important. My 2 dads should be able to marry and have the same rights as everybody. How would you feel if you couldn't marry someone just because the government said you weren't allowed to? If I loved someone and wasn't allowed to marry them, I'd be pretty upset. My family taught me that even if you don't agree with someone, you should still be kind and respectful. The government should be respectful too. Also, my church tells me that you should treat other people how you want to be treated. My dads are very unique. We do lots of silly things, like drink hot cocoa every time it snows. Every time we go to the same place in Florida with one of my dad's whole family, Our family knows how to have fun. We do lots of road trips. One of my favorite things to do with my family is game night. I love this family and every single thing we do as a family. Before I lived with my two dads, my life was horrible. My old family never treated me well. They wouldn't stand up for me. If my foster sister would fight with me, my old mom would just sit there and watch me get hurt. I'd have to fight back, even if I didn't want to. Each time I was at a foster home, they promised me they'd treat me and my brother equally. They always broke their promise. I left 5 times until I found my two dads. They promised they would keep me safe and equal. Now I'm 10, and they still keep their promises. They do so much for me. They never hurt me or my brothers. I feel so safe. I believe now that I can do anything with my two dads. Braden closed her letter, asking, "Will you let my dads be married?" She drew 2 little boxes at the bottom, one for a check for yes and one a check for no. For the love of family, I'm checking yes. For Braden, for Michael, and Cody and their dads, join me. Say yes for dignity, yes for respect, and yes for families all over Illinois, and vote aye. Thank you.
Mr. Yingling.